Welcome to the Decipher podcast. My name is Dennis Fisher. I'm the editor-in-chief of Decipher, and this is going to be an RSA conference preview podcast. With me today, my colleague Lindsey O'Donnell-Welch and our friend Brian Donohue from Red Canary. How are you guys doing?
Good.
How's it going?
I'm good. I'm actually looking forward to RSA this year, which is a little bit of a weird thing to say because this is, I think, my 24th year going to this circus, but...
I tried to count, and I'm not sure how many. It's somewhere in between 7 and 10. I just can't remember. Like, one year got canceled. I can't even figure it out anymore. But yeah, I'm excited to go too, actually.
Yeah, our friend Ryan was making fun of us in Slack because we were like looking forward to it. And, Ryan just likes to like take pot shots from the sidelines on everything. But I just want to see my friends. And also, like, there's good stuff there. Like, yes, I complain about it every year, and there's 50,000 sessions that I won't go to, but there's plenty of actual good things happening there. It's so big, it's overwhelming, honestly.
Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. I feel like anytime I open all the sessions on the agenda, and this happens every single year too, I'm just totally overwhelmed though by everything. Just and like 3 good sessions happening at one time. There's a lot.
Yeah. I have not tried to map them out in terms of time, but I have read all of them because we were like, my boss was like, we got to write a blog so we can tell people where our booth is. And so we can tell them that we're going to be doing talks at the booth and to promote the talk that you're giving. And I was like, I'm 2 steps ahead of you. I already read through all the talks and have a list of ones that I like. I'll just write a blog showcasing them, but I have absolutely no idea if I can get to all of them. And I'm not going to look at that until 5 minutes before each talk.
Yeah. I feel like RSA is the literal like personification of that meme of like, I'm not reading all that, but I'm happy for you, or I'm sorry that happened. Like that. I have a lot of ambitions about, things I'm going to go do. And I'll probably just end up, going to like 2 sessions a day, doing a bunch of podcasts, and like, that'll kind of be it. And I'll be completely mentally and physically exhausted by like Wednesday night.
Yeah, I always forget to bake in the 30 minutes it takes to walk from the hotel I'm staying at to the Moscone Center. So that generally causes me to at least miss a talk every single day.
Oh, no question. Yeah.
Yeah. This happens like, I feel like every time I've gone, I just pack my schedule. And then by like Wednesday night, Thursday morning, I'm just a zombie, like walking around the conference, like
yes,
destitute.
Yeah. That's happened to me.
I might just be a scooter guy this year. Just
oh my God,
electric scooters everywhere I go.
Absolutely not. No, you can't do that. I've seen you on bikes and other modes of transportation. No one needs you on a scooter in San Francisco. No, I can just see you bombing down from Union Square, forgetting that there's crosswalks at Market Street and just like zipping across. And like,
I hope they have limiters on those things.
They must,
I don't
right?
know. Yeah, I would think that they do. Otherwise, they would be absolutely deadly in San Francisco.
Yeah, which that place doesn't need any more hazards, honestly.
Yeah.
Lindsey, you and I have never actually been to RSA together because since you joined Decipher, like 1 year you had COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, another year you just didn't go. So this is the first year you actually get to go. So it's actually kind of exciting.
I know. I remember after the COVID year, I'm like quarantining myself leading up to it. I was like, we're making no plans this weekend. We're not doing anything. I've got RSA. I'm going. So
yeah. Sorry, Tim. Here's the kids. I'll see you guys in a week. Yeah. Brian, what's your, we've been to RSA together many times. What's your favorite, like, PG memory of RSA?
That is a good question. Well, I mean, last year we had a brilliant insight and just bought tickets to that baseball game. Like, I literally gave my talk and walked immediately from there to the ballpark. But like back in the day when Cellar Maker was open, we used to have the best time. Like, we would walk just far enough away from the Moscone Center that no one from the conference would go out that far. And we would just hang out at this like world-class brewery for a while. I mean, we would do it all the time.
It was great.
Yeah, there was a lot of like Thirsty Bear stuff.
Yes.
Also,
Thirsty
like
Bear.
in terms of like actual conference content, there was a year that was his name David Jacoby, the guy at Kaspersky Lab. He
Yep.
gave a talk on like hacking old video game systems or something. And he
And it
had
was
done
in
it at
like MS
SAS.
Paint.
Yeah, and it was really,
Yeah,
really good. That guy was extremely talented.
I love that guy. Very smart guy. I remember one year, this is completely tangent, but one year at VB in Barcelona, the conference was taking place in the hotel that we were all staying in. And me and Ryan and Paul Roberts, a few other people were like walking down to go to a session or something at like 9:30 in the morning. And Jacoby and a few other guys were coming into the hotel. They had been at a beach like all night. And we were like, what are you guys up to? And they're like, oh, we're going to bed. I was like, oh man, cool.
Different lives.
Yeah, you guys had a better night than I did. I went to bed at 10 o'clock. All right. So we're going to do a few things. We're going to talk about some sessions that we're each actually excited about. I'm sure we'll have some overlap there. And then we're going to talk about some sessions and that have some kind of wild titles. And we're going to sort of quiz each other and see if we can figure out what these titles are about, sort of sight unseen, what these sessions are about, excuse me. And we'll just kind of go around. So, Lindsay, why don't you start? And what's your first session that you're actually excited about seeing?
I feel like this is going to be on both yours too, so sorry to take it, but anything with Katie Mazuris is always good. So she's got her The Good, the Bad, and the Bounty, 10 years of buying bugs at Microsoft. That's always gonna anytime Katie talks, she is just so smart and spews wisdom. But in this one in particular, she'll be with someone from Microsoft talking about kind of her past setting up the bug bounty program at Microsoft and how it's evolved, and everything that's been going on recently with Microsoft too, and the cyber safety review board report. I think it'll be a really cool session to watch and see kind of the insights there.
Yeah, I didn't even put that on my list because I knew for a fact it would be on Dennis's. But like one other thing about that is and I think about this a lot, I don't think that people in this industry who are younger than me, or maybe even my age, understand the absolute goat rodeo that it was getting these big companies to pay bug bounties back in like the mid 2000s, and how much of a critical role Katie played in making that happen.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Brian. Katie not only essentially started the bug bounty program at Microsoft, but then has gone on to help dozens, if not hundreds, of other companies start VDPs and bug bounty programs, and sort of helped create an entire industry of this stuff. And you're right, Brian. There's probably an entire generation of people younger than you, which is terrifying, that don't know what that's all about. It's just always been there. Like for them, bug bounties were a thing. They might have done them in high school or whatever. Like there's a whole generation of like cyber professionals that grew up like doing bug bounties because that was a way to make some money.
It's so true.
Yeah.
But what's weird too is, it's continued to evolve, and, even now there's still like issues that crop up with different companies that are, maybe less mature, but still like those, every now and then you'll see like a tweet about some sort of like botched bug bounty type situation. Yes. So,
yeah,
I'm curious what she has to say about kind of the evolution over time and where it's going in the future.
Well, and also Katie just says whatever Katie wants to say, so that'll be great. Like she doesn't pull any punches. Like there's no filter whatsoever, it'll be great. She doesn't care. Okay, that's a great one. So that was definitely on my list. Obviously, Brian was right. What's your first one, Brian?
Dog barking.
Nice. There we go.
Probably the mailman here. That guy hates the mailman. So when we were talking before, you said that there was one that was being done by a friend of yours that you were going to add to the "What could this talk possibly be about" list. And I don't know if it's this one, but I could see it being this one. But I am psyched for Rich Mogul and Chris Ferris's CloudSec Hero to Zero, self-obsolescing through prolific efficiency. And I will be candid, I have no idea what that title means, but Rich has been doing these weekly cloud labs like for free on his website. And I haven't gone and done them yet just because I haven't had time. Well, that's one reason why I haven't done them. I'm also... So I went to set up my own AWS instance, like my own personal one. And the like second thing they do is like, give me your credit card. And I sat there for like a long time and I was like, how confident am I that I'm not going to botch this and end up with like a massive cloud bill or like how confident am I that I can secure this thing and make sure no one else can grab it and start stealing computer power from me? So I've been like looking at the reminder emails every day, like not yet. But yeah, he does these free labs weekly. I don't know how good they are, but like it's an amazing idea. So I'm curious to see his talk because I've been sort of following along with that and I want to go check those out.
Yeah, Rich, there are a few people that know more about cloud security than Rich does. And he's been teaching cloud security classes for more than a decade, probably 15 years, and for a lot of money. And now that free lab that you're talking about, Brian, is like a lot of that information just for free. Like, go get it. Like, you're not going to get better information than that. And you're 100% right. That was one of the session titles where I was like, don't know what this is. This will be great. But yeah, you kind of blew it up. But that's a good one. Self-obsolescing is a phrase I've never heard in my life.
I don't even know what that means. And I'm also very unfamiliar with prolific efficiency. Certainly doesn't describe me.
I'm going to drop both of those phrases in just a random conversation.
I can't wait to see those in a story next week, Lindsay.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good one, Brian. So for me, I have a bunch of like sort of government ones on my list, which is very unlike me. But the first one I'll pick out is the State of the Hack 2024 from the NSA's perspective. And it's Rob Joyce, who's the former director of cybersecurity at the NSA, and a guy named David Luber, who I think is the guy that took over for Rob. Is that right, Brian?
I believe so.
Yeah. If not, an NSA guy. And it's essentially, they do this every year at RSA, and at least for the last 3 or 4 years. And it's essentially them like giving a declassified briefing on like the threat landscape, which is really, really cool because NSA has a unique perspective, obviously, on what's going on. It's not the same as what, say, Mandiant or, the Verizon DBIR might have, or some other threat intel team, or what you guys might have, Brian. They have the NSA perspective, they have all of it. So it's always really cool. And they'll answer questions too. Like, Rob will sit there and answer questions pretty candidly during that session, which is really neat. You don't get to see that very often from the three-letter agency folks.
Yeah, that's always a good one. And Rob, he recently retired too. So
yeah,
it's back from retirement already to do this.
I know. Guess what I'm not going to be doing when I retire? Going to RSA.
Yeah.
No, probably not. Yeah. Right.
He's just a great speaker, very smart, very relatable. Does a really good job in these talks.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. What's next for you, Linz?
All right, let's see what else. I wrote a couple ones that seemed good down. Quantifying the probability of flaws in open source looks pretty good. That's with Chris Hang, Veracode, Jay Jacobs with Scientia Institute. And, I think, open source is obviously a hot topic today. And basically, they analyzed 30,000 open source projects and are going to be looking specifically at those. So I think that looks like a pretty good one. And Chris Hang definitely knows his stuff. So
yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch of math and charts involved in that talk. I can tell you that.
Yep.
They love some charts, and those guys are really smart. It's going to be really tough.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well, in part because I like open source stuff, but on the back end of that, it kind of breaks my head to think about it, because the one problem of things being vulnerable in open source is a problem. And then there's the much bigger problem of people trying to figure out where they've shoved these open source things into
Yeah.
all of the products that they make. So it's like this two-headed beast that just every couple of years rears its head again, probably more often than that, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it, is like it's always kind of lurking in the background, but then like, every year, 2 years, like something huge will happen and everyone's like, we got to figure out the open source problem. And then it kind of, settles down a little bit, but it's something that we need to, keep our eyes on for sure.
Yeah, there was the log4j thing a couple years ago, and then that XZ utils backdoor this year.
The
Yeah,
Heartbleed one years
Heartbleed.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
God.
that one. Yeah.
So many, a bunch of open SSL stuff,
Oh wait, maybe I'm
and
thinking of the OpenSSL stuff. Wait, was that a
yeah,
Heartbleed thing?
no, Heartbleed was. I mean, yes, I'm sorry, it was.
Okay.
It was related to that. Yeah, and then every time something like this happens, we get the government holding hearings and being, capital V, very concerned about how this is all going and why can't we fix it. And everybody's like, well, money. We don't have money. These are hobbies. These are like weekend projects in a lot of cases that run most of the world. So
And it's
that's
also like,
kind of,
why would I go reinvent the wheel when there's this free unlicensed thing
yeah,
that I can
totally.
just, and
Yeah.
it's just like an individual engineer just shoving that code into a thing.
Yeah.
There's no way to stop it.
No. Oh, way too late. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literal decades too late. So, all right. What's next for you, Brian?
Um, so I'm gonna go with You Can't Measure Risk with Andy Ellis,
Oh,
who is I'm just like a really, really great speaker. Um, Probably has spoken at RSA like as much as anyone other than the guys who are on the like cryptography panel. Um, and plus, just interested to hear, he was a CISO forever. He may still be a CISO. I'm not exactly sure what he's up to these days, but was a CISO at a massive company forever, right? So I'm interested to hear kind of his thoughts on like the problems with quantifying risk and how he thinks about risk.
yeah, that should be really good. Andy's a great speaker, and there will be a whole bunch of like football analogies,
It's
and
funny,
especially like,
in the preview blog, I wrote that he oddly is an American football savant. I got into I didn't really get into an argument with him because I was completely outmatched, but he's a Patriots fan and I'm a Giants fan. So I was needling him about the Giants beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And he just went into a tirade about like offensive line play. And I was like, whoa, 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 what the hell is this guy talking about? Who watches offensive line play?
Andy Ellis. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
that's right. Yeah, he's really good though. You're right. He speaks at RSA at least one session a year for sure. And he, being the CISO at Akamai for, I don't even know how long, 15, 20 years. Like that's another unique perspective on the internet that only a few people ever get. That's Amazon or Google level, traffic flowing through your building and getting to see what's happening on a huge, huge scale. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And I feel like the topic of risk and like just kind of overarching CISO issues too, like that's something that definitely have been cropping up over the past couple RSAs, as like CISO legal liability issues, risk management, things like that.
Yep.
So I definitely saw a couple sessions that are similar in that area too.
Yeah. All right, good one, Brian. So for me, I think another one I'm interested in is this one called Apocalypse Avoided: The Future According to the Four Horsemen of Cyber, which is one of those titles where you just kind of like, okay, what does any of that mean? Like you've got the four horsemen, you've got the apocalypse, you've got cyber, like all the buzzwords. But so the speakers are four of the folks that were involved in essentially setting up Cyber Command, starting after you'll probably remember this, Brian. I don't know if you will, Lindsay, but in 2008, when there was a malicious USB drive that was connected to a military computer and almost caused a giant catastrophe, but eventually led to the creation of Cyber Command. So this panel has Jen Easterly, Stephen Davis from Air Force, Paul Nakasone from NSA, and Timothy White from Cyber Command. So it should be really good. I mean, I like those sort of historical perspectives, just to, it's been long enough that they could probably talk about some of the stuff that happened and, what led to eventually standing up Cyber Command. But and those are all really good speakers too, so it should be pretty cool.
I feel like we are allowing for titles that don't make sense from people who we know and can vouch for, and there will be no such mercy given for all the rest of these talks where we don't know the people
Absolutely not.
who are
No.
speaking. So apologies in advance if we bring up your talk title. It's not you, it's us.
Personally, I love the Four Horsemen of Cyber. It reminds me of some, I don't even know, like
I know. It
some
does
sort of
sound like,
movie.
yeah, it sounds like a bad movie that I would have done on a podcast at some point. Yeah. All right. You're up, Linz. What do you got?
I also am kind of looking forward to the other Jenny Sterling talk, which I think is a keynote. But a world on fire, playing defense in a digitized world and winning. That's mostly because it's Jenny Sterling, Chris Krebs talking to each other. So I think just that back and forth between kind of someone who's been at CISA and someone who's at CISA, and kind of how things have evolved over time. That should be a good one to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Oh, no, I have. I think I've only seen Chris Krebs speak once because and that was at LabsCon 2 years ago. But aside from that, I don't think I've ever really seen him speak because when he was in government, he was not really doing public speaking whatsoever. I've seen him on like virtual things for like the Aspen Institute or whatever, but he's usually pretty candid too, though. Especially now that he's out of government.
Very. Yeah, I saw him at like a very small ransomware task force meeting / event thing and met him there, and he's great.
Yeah, he seems like a really nice guy. It's too bad he's a UVA guy, but what can you do? It's a flaw. All right, you're up, Brian. What do you got?
So I'm going deep down into the tactical hole on this one. A Blueprint for Detection Engineering Tools, Processes, and Metrics by Eric McGinnis. And then my friend Jose Hernandez is one of the maintainers of our open source tool, Atomic Red Team. So I don't know. I've got just over the last 6 years, I've spent a tremendous amount of time thinking about detection engineering. And these guys are from Splunk, so they've got a really, really great research team that does a bunch of really smart detection engineering stuff. So I'm curious to see what they have to say about that.
That should be cool. I mean, it's right up your open source alley right there, Brian.
Yeah. I will be curious to see if he spends any time talking about Atomic Red Team and stuff like that. But I'm also big into like metrics, right? Like what should people be measuring when they're doing, detection, especially at a scale like, a place like Splunk might be doing it.
Yeah. How much, I mean, I don't know how much you actually talk to customers, Brian, but like partners and folks like that. Like I know from just talking to other engineers and folks like that, they a lot of times do struggle trying to figure out what they should be measuring. Like, how do we know if we're doing a good job here? Like, yeah, we're catching a bunch of shit, but yeah, we know there's stuff going by too. Like we just don't know what to, point at.
How do you baseline what is normal, right? Like
Yeah.
I have no earthly idea other than comparing against yourself and trying to make numbers go down over time.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, like you buy a new cloud security doohickey and all of a sudden your cloud security alerts go up and it's like, so much of it is dependent on where you're looking and what you care about. Like some people are like, we stop telling us about, adware. We don't care. Other places want to know about all that stuff. So it differs wildly from place to place. Like I fortunately have a very easy job of just tracking like MITRE attack technique abuse and like threats that we see and stuff like that across all customers. But yeah, within a single organization, I'm kind of fascinated by what they choose to measure and what they think of as like success metrics, really.
Yeah. It's not an easy thing to figure out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Okay. Here it is. Another one I'm not sure if I'll actually go see this, but like the title just kind of grabbed me, and it's a couple folks from the FBI speaking. Operation Cookie Monster and Genesis Market in International Cyber Takedown. So if you'll remember, I think the Genesis Marketplace, they think that takedown was like 2 or 3 years ago. Or maybe actually more recently than that, but there's been so many, I can't even keep track. But Genesis Marketplace was one of those, like, I guess, dark web marketplaces that just sold bad shit. they started out selling like fingerprints and stolen identities, which is some real dystopian, crap going on right there. But it evolved into, a much bigger thing. So it's 2 FBI special agents who I guess were involved in the takedown that are going to be speaking. And again, like I love those behind the scenes looks at how this stuff gets done. It's the stuff that Andy Greenberg writes about in his books all the time. And, otherwise you never really hear too much about publicly. So hopefully that should be interesting.
Yeah, I think it was more recently than that too. I think the takedown was in the last year.
Oh, you might be right. Yeah.
It says April 2023, but I think there were two different sessions too about Genesis Market. So I think there's a lot of interest there.
I think you're right.
There were, yeah. And I believe they both have cookie in the title just because why not? Yeah. Because if I remember right, like they got into that marketplace by stealing somebody's session cookie and taking over like an admin account or something like that. That's what sticks in my head. It was a year ago, but time is a flat circle, so there's no way I can possibly remember that. All right, Lindsay, you are up.
Is this still for the favorite?
If you want, or we can start making fun of things if you want. It's up to you.
Do you guys have any more?
I can go. I can move on.
Okay. All right. Let's. So we're gonna throw out some session titles, and so if Lindsay throws one out, me and Brian will try and figure out what exactly this session might be about.
Okay. All right. This one is all right. Old MacDonald had a server farm. A mock trial.
I have that one on my list as well. I have no earthly idea what that could possibly be about.
I don't either. The mock trial part throws me off because what are they trying? Like what happened in this server farm with AI that they need to have a trial about? It's very confusing to me, but it's kudos for them for getting nursery rhymes and AI into a session title, which, obviously the program committee really loved.
I feel like there could have been a they could have gone like the Clue route instead of throwing in like the McDonald's. Yeah, but Yeah.
So what does the session description say?
So the description is during a live nationally televised sports show interview of a famous cage fighter, the hosts decide to ask the nosy neighbor AI, capital N for nosy neighbor, what it knows about the fighter. Along with the normal stats, the AI states the fighter is a doll collector. Furious at being outed, the fighter sues all the usual suspects. Is the AI guilty of privacy violations?
Is this a real thing that happened?
Not what I expected.
I don't know. I need to wrap my mind around it.
I still don't know what the hell it's about.
I mean, I will say, I actually want to go to this just to see.
I might too.
It's worked.
That actually sounds like it could have happened, but there's no way to know, especially given the AI component of it. I have no concept. I don't know.
I'm thinking maybe something with AI and data privacy, but I'm confused by the doll collector twist and everything else. So.
Oh, me too. Yeah. And what are you suing for? Because somebody found out you collect dolls? I mean,
and how would the AI know about it if it wasn't publicly available on the internet anyway?
It's a great question. Yeah, because those things are trained on garbage from the internet. So there you go.
Yeah, no case here, says lawyer Brian, who's not an actual lawyer.
No legal advice coming from this podcast. That's for sure. That's a good one. I mean, old MacDonald had a server farm. Perfect. Okay. All right, Brian, what do you got?
So I have a big mix of talks that are some of them are acronym soup and I'm what are you talking about? Some of them are just so vague that it's impossible. So I'm going to start out with maybe the most vague title in the entire agenda. And that title is just Constructions.
Is this a sponsored session? Is this like a vendor session?
Nope. I limited out keynotes and sponsor sessions when I went through to look for the ones that I couldn't make sense of.
That's
Constructions. That's it.
Is there a period at the end? Instructions.
There's
Nope,
no
no
colon.
grammar, just the word constructions.
Yeah. This has to be some kind of. I'm gonna guess it's like a container talk, like something about Kubernetes or something like that.
I don't know. I'm kind of running a blank here.
How did that get approved? Like the program committee must have been like really tired at the end of the day and been like, whatever. I don't know.
Well, let me read to you the description, which I'm reading now for the very first time.
Please do.
This cryptography session will cover the following topics. Topic 1, ASCON MAC, PRF, in short, input PRF. Topic 2, interactive oracle arguments in the QROM and applications to succinct verification of quantum computation. So I have no earthly
That's
idea what
enough.
any of that means or what it has to do with constructions.
Constructing what? What are we constructing? Like
I'm sure someone smarter than me can make sense of all of this, but I
don't
have no
know.
idea what's going on there.
I'll email Bruce Schneier after we're done here and see what the hell this is all about.
Yeah, I feel like it's just someone who's very technical and smart would be like, "Oh yes, constructions." Like, of course.
Obviously.
Yeah,
they're gonna come after me and attack me on Twitter after they listen to this.
I can't wait.
Idiot.
That's what I'd live for. That's a great one. Okay, this is one that Lindsay and I talked about last week, I think, sometime, and it's just titled "What's in Your Burrito?"
That one is definitely on my list. I was eyeing it, but I thought maybe I'd go with the. So that's probably the second. That's in my top 3 for most vague titles.
It's
Again,
really
I haven't
good.
looked at it either.
The title actually comes from the fact that the 2 speakers are from Chipotle, the delicious quick serve Mexican restaurant. And here's the description. This session will focus on how a team built a secure Kubernetes environment by mapping CIS controls into our SDLC pipelines. You will learn how to build your perfect burrito using security controls, business priorities, and maturity level.
That makes
I don't
sense.
know any more now than sure. Yeah. I mean,
well, the CIS is the like Center for Internet Security's 20 things.
Yeah.
And SDL is whatever they said is like the
SDLC,
software development lifecycle. So that actually, I made more sense of that than I did of the constructions one.
Well, sure, because there's no math in this one. There's no like weird variables or like, yeah.
I wasn't going to be, well, I had no idea what they were going to talk about, but I was going to guess it was like some sort of point of sale thing and buying burritos, but makes a lot more sense that it's the Chipotle people.
Yeah. I feel like my guess was tarnished by the fact that I knew they were Chipotle speakers, but
yeah,
that's a good link. That's a good title given their Chipotle.
It's great. Yeah, and everyone loves Chipotle, so that's going to be a winner, obviously. Okay, Lindsay, do you have another one that we can guess?
Okay. I think we talked about this one too, Dennis, but the evolving role of emojis in investigations and data security.
That's also on my list. I have not. I don't remember reading what it's about, and I have no clue. The only thing I can think of is like, well, our incident response team uses a lot of memes, but
over time the memes have just gotten like darker.
Yeah, like they've used fewer words and more memes to communicate. And I'm like, there may be something to this. I don't know.
I don't have any idea either. I didn't look at the description purposely because I didn't want to know, but I have no idea. Is it related to emojis on the investigator side or on the attacker side?
Yeah. And the data security thing throws me off.
Yeah. It's very odd. Okay, so what do they say?
So it says, okay, so during this session, we will dive deeper into various aspects of emojis, discuss and demonstrate tools and technologies that can unlock the meaning, intent, and potential digital evidence to enhance investigations, incident response, data security, and provide early indications and warning of potential criminal acts. we will also cover ChatGPT's role in emoji investigations.
But
oh no.
I still don't understand. I still don't understand where emojis fit into this.
Neither do I. I have not a clue. So they're trying to use like predictive analysis to see if I'm using, the slanty eyebrows emoji that I'm about to do some like evil things, or what. I don't
I'm
know.
still confused. Yeah.
Who are the speakers? Are they like CTI analysts or?
Someone with the University of Arizona and Python forensics and Digital Mountain.
Okay. Yeah, it figures this was sort of came out of academia. This sounds like something that somebody dreamed up, late at night and was like, oh man, I gotta have a thesis ready by Monday.
That
Yeah.
abstract could use just one more sentence actually explaining what emojis have to do with any of this.
I would really appreciate that.
Yeah.
That would be great.
My takeaway is that it's like if someone is using like a certain emoji, that it can like potentially tell you that. I mean, they say warning of potential criminal acts. So maybe if you're using like I don't even know what emoji.
That is some
devil emoji
dark,
or something.
like Minority Report things going on there with like,
Yeah.
pre-crime because of emojis. No thanks.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't use them. All right, Brian, what do you got for us?
So I want to move away from vague titles that are impossible to figure out, but I do want to just give honorable mention to a pair of talks, one called Signatures 1 and another called Signatures 2. No idea what those could possibly be about. But now I want to go to like the sort of word soup titles. So, thwarting the adversary, bending the zero trust curve to defense.
Okay, since nobody actually knows what zero trust is, this is really hard to figure out. Maybe we should bring in Wendy Nather.
What is the zero trust curve?
I don't know.
Is it supposed to be curved, or is it supposed to be? Are they bending the curve more? Are they straightening the curve out?
Yeah, they could be flattening the curve.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've heard flattening the curve.
Yes. If the curve is already bent, if it's a curve, so why would you need to bend it more?
We're going to find out.
I'm just doing some grammatical analysis here. I don't have any idea what this is.
Wrong? Okay, let's see if I can find it. Let's see if we can get if we can get it in the agenda. The search function here leaves a little bit to be desired.
Yes, it sure does.
Come on now, there we go. So wow, it's someone from Lawrence Livermore National Library and the
laboratory,
and the White House.
Oh.
So the private sector and U.S. national labs are housed among the most impressive SMEs, I assume they mean subject matter experts, in supercomputers. Threat actors are strengthening their computational power and can now disrupt known vulnerable encryption algorithms, undermining trust in data and systems. Join this fireside chat to hear how U.S. government, private sector, and labs can modernize and advance long-term defense of federal enterprise using zero trust principles. Still no clue what bending the zero trust curve means, but the rest of it, the talk sounds completely reasonable, but the title is still a bit confusing.
It does. Yeah. I mean, I'd kind of like to hear about supercomputers and, bad guys doing stuff.
I sold myself on that talk by reading the actual description.
Ryan's going to be in the front row.
I want to see you like ask a question during the session, Brian. Like, this is a great talk, guys, but what the hell is this? What's this title from? Like, where'd you guys come up with this?
Like, I was promised you would talk about bending the zero trust curve.
This is more of a statement than a question, but I'm not sure I understand any of this. Okay, here's another one that kind of jumped out at me. Cyber-informed machine learning, end user value through explainability. Any ideas? I don't know.
What was the first part of it?
Cyber-informed machine learning, end user value through explainability. Uh-huh.
That's a head scratcher.
I mean, I have no idea. Like, are they talking about securing? What is cyber informed?
I don't know. Like,
what does cyber even mean?
In this context, it could mean anything, Brian. You don't know.
All right, what does
idea.
the abstract say? We're doing
Okay,
bad
here
at
we
this
go.
game.
Cybersecurity is a data-rich and natural setting for machine learning. However, lack of explainability is a major challenge. This session will propose cyber-informed ML, a paradigm emphasizing two directions of explainability: human to model and model to human. We'll share practical examples of overcoming this challenge and discuss research needed for ML and the cybersecurity operations level. I honestly have no idea.
I feel like maybe they're going to talk about like how you prompt their machine learning algorithms and then how you train them to speak like humans, but I don't know.
Possibly. It's two data scientists from Carnegie Mellon.
Oh, wow.
So
it's going to be way too smart for us anyway.
Yeah, can't go to that. I mean, good luck to you guys, but I won't be there. All right, Lindsay, you got any other funny ones?
I have one more. Outside of all like the smart, toilet, like smart adult toy type stuff, like I feel like the which those can get honorable mentions.
Yes.
This one was just kind of interesting to me, but it's a privacy past and present, a father-daughter look at data privacy evolution. It is a father and daughter that are both in the cybersecurity space discussing data privacy. I thought that was kind of cool.
Is it anyone we know?
Caitlin, I'm going to botch this last name, Sarian and Ronald Sarian, who Ronald is the global chief privacy officer at Ingram Micro.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad, doing a talk with your daughter, RSA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not confused about that one. I do want to go watch it.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
I like that.
And Caitlin is the founder and executive director for Cybersecurity Girl. So.
Oh, very cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Brian, what else is on your list?
Man, I still have so many on here.
Let's go.
Navigate. Ooh, actually, no, I'm not going to do that one because I just read it and realized what it's about. It's about actual. I was going to say navigating chaos, the consequence of compromise in mixed autonomy freeways, but I then immediately realized they're talking about actual freeways and they're talking about having self-driving cars and normal cars.
Yeah.
Scratch that. That would make sense. All right, let's go to one that's going to sort of expose us as all being kind of stupid. DPAPI and DPAPI-NG, decrypting all secrets and PFX passwords.
Got it.
I understood decrypting, secrets, and passwords in there.
Somewhere deep in my brain, I know what DPAPI means, but I would definitely have to go Google it to figure out what exactly it means. But I don't have any earthly idea what a PFX password is.
Absolutely not. No, not a clue on earth. And there's going to be far too much math involved in that talk for me to sit through it. There's no way in the world I could do it. But it sounds like they found some new attack and a way to decrypt specific kinds of passwords.
Who's the speakers?
The speakers are, oh boy. So I apologize to them because of my inability to say the last names, but it's Mike Jankowski-Lorick. Got that one, I think.
Okay.
And Paula Janusewicz. Not exactly sure how you're supposed to pronounce it when there's an S, a Z, and a K next to each other, but I tried my best. Yeah, this is way above our head. So the team takes DPAPI and DPAPI-NG research to the next level. During the session, attendees will hear about two great discoveries made. Both demonstrations are key DPAPI breakthroughs that can cause serious implications if not managed well. And they're going to drop a tool. Love a tool drop. We love a tool drop.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. You're supposed to do surprise tool drops though. Like get it, like you can't announce it. You gotta
you just got to drop the tool. No, you got to announce it because then people will want to come. People love tools. So I think DP API is just a data protection API. I don't know what the NG part of that is.
Next generation.
Next
Gotta
gen.
be.
There we go. Yeah.
Has to be.
Just assume. Let's not fact check it at all.
Absolutely not.
Do you have any more, Dennis?
Oh, I sure do. Yeah, this one. Okay, here we go. The Art of Probable. Test with AI, Atomic Red Team, and threat metrics.
How dare you? I know precisely what that one's
What's
about.
your response to that, Brian?
I know precisely what that one's about because that's my talk that I'm giving with my dear friend Adam Mishenchi. And it's obvious what that's about. We built an AI. We fed it a bunch of threat intelligence reports, and then we told it to like give us prioritized, threat priorities and tell us what Atomic Red Team tests we should run and tell us like, what to worry about basically. And I'll tell you what, our AI tool worked really, really well once and never again. So there's something weird going on. And we just use like Chat GPT Plus or whatever the when you pay for it. But something goes on with like the memory of that thing. And like once it flushes its memory, it's gone. Like it doesn't come back. And I don't know what the solution to that is. But we like took all the shit we learned and dumped it all in docs. And we're just going to release all of that with the tool and hope someone who has more time and is better at this can go and figure out how to do cool things. Because we found like this, I can't remember the guy's name, but we'll say it in the talk. But we found this like GitHub repository where, and it's open source, where this guy just uploads like reports, like annual reports, like all white papers and reports in cybersecurity. And so we tried to shove that thing into our tool, and it was like, that's way too many reports. You can put in 20 reports. So we picked like 20 reports and put them in. But like if someone builds a custom AI, right, and shoves that library of reports in there and learns a lot about prompting, which we did, like it would be an amazing general purpose tutor basically for like I work for a 500 person company. We use Windows and AWS and we use Okta for identity and blah, 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 blah. And like, tell me the things that I need to prioritize. And it just spits out a list. And you say, okay, how can I detect like this thing that you noted? And how can I test it? And like, yeah, we got it to work once, but surely someone out there can build like a fully custom one and make it work all the time.
Well, you got it to work once. That's better than a lot of these things that don't work whatsoever.
There's this weird tell. It'll like, so we had all these debugging things in it. Like we were like, begin every response with ahoy and tell us and we version numbered every set of instructions we gave it. So we could tell if it was starting to follow our instructions, but for some reason it would start giving us generic answers and stop like looking to the knowledge that we had uploaded to it. So I don't know.
Interesting. All right. Well, yeah. I might have to come to your AI talk, Brian.
It's like they literally 2 years in a row have put us in like the last talking session, which shows the level of disrespect RSA or disdain that RSA conference has for me. Although they've accepted us twice, so they can't hate us that much. But the funny thing is we made fun of all the AI talks last year, and now we've got to come back and give an AI talk and eat crow in front of 200 people.
This is how life works.
Yeah. If you can't beat them, join them.
I do remember one of the years that I spoke at RSA, it was on like Friday morning, which I don't even think they do Friday morning talks anymore. It was at like 8:30 on Friday morning in the basement of Moscone. I was like, I don't even want to be here. I know you people don't want to be here. Like,
I'm sad by the Friday morning at RSA. I just want to go home and see my kids by that point.
Right. Absolutely. Of course. Yeah.
I haven't stayed guilty.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
That's
all right. I'm out of funny ones because I just want to throw that one at Brian. What else do you have on your list, Brian?
All right. Let me look through them involved. We'll just do one more. So I'm going to go with, because I think that we maybe have a chance at figuring out what this one's about just because we'll know what all the words mean. How sworn enemies found a truce, sort of, to achieve NIST compliance.
Oh. Could this be a truce between like the compliance department and the security people inside an organization?
I think that you're on the right path. That's kind of what I was thinking too. I just don't know who it would be against compliance, which we're going to find out right now.
Yeah.
Or we're going to be totally wrong.
Yeah, because I mean,
funny.
typically compliance keeps you out of prison, so you should probably be like pro compliance in most.
Words of wisdom. Compliance keeps you out of prison. For cyber and engineering teams, it's challenging to achieve alignment on NIST requirements and commit the time and budget to accomplish those goals. It is complicated to effectively translate compliance and security controls to engineering implementation. This session will focus on the journey as a startup SaaS company took to gain third-party compliance attestation of NIST controls and implementation. So it was engineering and compliance / security.
Okay. We were close.
Yeah. That actually sounds pretty interesting, that one.
Yeah, I actually didn't like hate the title. I just was like, I wonder if we can figure this one out.
It's a lot of words.
On like Key Management 101, DEX, KEX, and credentials living together. Oh my. I'm like, I have no idea.
Whoever started the trend, and I'm sure it was somebody at Black Hat like 20 years ago, of just throwing in, like cultural references or,
like
doing
for fun
this
and profit and
for fun and profit.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's the, for fun and profit is the Elias Levy paper that, smashing the stack. Yeah, that's, but everybody, if you somehow sorted the Black Hat agenda for the last 25 years, you would see for fun and profit in probably 100 different talks. There's no question.
There's a for no fun and no profit in this one, which I count under the same thing. It's just a slight variation.
Is there? I didn't see that. Like that's awesome.
Fun and like unprofitable or something.
I kind of like that. I like a disrespectful title. Yeah.
I like the also, this is like a bonus one that's not really funny, but just like it's there. A conversation with actor, comedian, and writer Jason Sudeikis. I just like that title because it's like he's not just an actor; he's also a writer.
Yes,
and a comedian.
Yep.
They seem to have a couple of those every year.
Yeah.
I've never been to any of them. Full disclosure.
I haven't either. No, because they're usually at an inconvenient time.
Yeah.
When I don't want to be in Moscone.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like if a lot of people go to those, if there's like a line out the door or what. I haven't been to one either.
I also don't stand in lines, so
nope, me neither. No, very anti-line. No, 100% no. It's just not for me. Life's too short for that nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not standing in a line to get into a talk at a conference. Like if I see one that is full, I'm like, okay, there's another one next door. I'll go to that. I'll figure something out.
I'm overbooked as it is.
Yeah.
In complicated ways that I don't yet fully understand.
You got to leave time for fun too, Brian. And, Super Duper Burger and all the other fun places.
And we do sometimes wait in line at Super Duper Burger, but we try to get there early so that there is no line.
And it goes fast and it's worth it.
Note to everybody, if you want Super Duper Burger, show up there at like 11. Okay.
Yes. That's
true.
That's
the move.
Yep.
Get in and out.
And there's 2 on Market Street. You don't have to go to the one right by Moscone. That's for me. You don't have to go there. Go to a different one.
Dennis just starts spreading rumors about that.
That's right. It's closed. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm going to start that now. Get ahead of the game. All right. Well, this is super fun, you guys. Thanks so much for coming on, Brian. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing you next week. Get up to some shenanigans and see some good talks.
Yeah. See you there.
All right. Take care.